India's market news headquarters. Cutting-edge analysis. Influential insights. Market-moving intelligence. Broadcasting live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios in Mumbai.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call. It's a Tuesday morning. We're coming live to you from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios. It's a positive close overnight. It's a positive handover yesterday. For those who were hoping for the Nifty to recover and continue the bounce from last Friday, were disappointed. But the broader market was not disappointed. That did very well. I'm Prashant. With me, my colleagues Nigel and Rima. Guys, hi. Good morning.
You were going to say good afternoon.
I was going to say.
But you said hello and welcome with so much energy and enthusiasm that one would have mistaken today to be a Friday. But when he said hope, we were discussing India-Australia, right? It looks like we're losing hope there.
No, we're not. We're not? We need to avoid that follow-on. We have around 85 runs to do that. So I'm hoping that our boys avoid the follow-on. And I think yesterday we saw some kind of profit-taking. But otherwise, if you look at the broader markets, it was a very, very good day. So Prashant, let's get straight to the action. Waiting to hear it from the Fed. But otherwise, I wouldn't be too worried.
I want to be a little Rima's in a mood. We should be careful, Nigel, today.
No, I mean, I'm working with Rima for the last 13, 14 years when she smacks it out of the park.
Okay, well, let's just begin with what you need to know right in the top, right, in terms of the cues. And let's start with overnight US action. So Nasdaq 100, it was Nasdaq Composite earlier, which crossed 20,000. We got the Nasdaq 100 now, which is close to an all-time high, above the 22,000 level. The S&P, the change basically, day on day will come up. S&P about 0.38%, Nasdaq about 1.2%, and you had the Russell 2000, which was up about 0.64%. So actually, it was a pretty green and all-up kind of a day. Two factors. There was, of course, this is the PMI numbers is essentially, this is December, is essentially what provided the first lift for markets. So it came in, the U.S. services PMI, and services is, of course, majority of the U.S. economy, 58.5 compared to 55.8, which was the expected number. The prior number is 56. So as compared to the earlier and the expected number, the actual actually was a big beat. And then the second trigger was, Donald Trump at a press event took questions from reporters, and we'll play sound bites of it. That added to the sentiment. It was not a big reason for the market to do well, but he essentially emphasized plans to deregulate more. He spoke about clean energy, he spoke about border, he spoke about, government efficiency, etc., etc. And as I said, more on that later. SoftBank, by the way, on the close on the heels of it, essentially said that they will invest $100 billion in the U.S., so that's something to note. Now, macro markets, the 10-year yield was largely unchanged, 4.3 to 4.39, 4.4. Dollar index under 107. And I think that is good news. You basically saw a throw above 107 and then finally ended at about 106.8-ish or so. The final FOMC, the Fed meeting of 2024, is tomorrow evening. Of course, we react to it on Thursday morning. And as I said yesterday, 25 basis point cut is largely fully in the price. Now, just to circle and tie in the levels here, the Nifty did not follow up after Friday's very strong bounce from the smacking it got intraday, and it gave up some of the gains. We had a negative close. The broader markets did well. And I think that is essentially where the story is, single stocks. So for the Nifty, though, supports come in at 24,600 and 24,414. These are two levels, very near term. We left off at about 24,668. And this is the first and the second near-term support levels. And on the upside, the range and the zone which we need to take out remains the same as I put out yesterday morning, 24,770 to 24,850 levels. Very near-term supports for the Nifty Bank similarly come in around 53,300. This is the hourly averages, and immediate resistance does not change. We never got to it yesterday, 53,888. Bank Nifty, by the way, was absolutely flat. And then, the resistance zone is 53,888 to 54,467. Lots of individual names we're going to talk about over the next hour as we head into market open. And that, I think, will remain the focus. GIFT Nifty should give you a sense of how we're likely to start, at least in terms of open, another 70, 75 odd points lower. Rima.
But will the activity in the broader markets continue like yesterday, the outperformance? But onto the levels. So Friday and yesterday's intraday high on the Nifty is pretty much coinciding around 24,800. So on Friday, we went to hit a level of 24,792 and yesterday it was 24,781. So just in the immediate term, this would be a level that the Nifty would like to conquer, though, as Prashant said, GIFT Nifty is starting off on the back foot right now. In terms of flows, thinning out, that's the net picture for the DIIs and the FIs right now. Both of them were sellers. I'm going to be watching for the rupee. Now, yesterday, the rupee closed at 84.89. But now we've got the trade deficit number for the month of November, and that has come in at a record high of $37.8 billion, sharply higher compared to the October number of $27.1 billion. Exports are marked low, are significantly lower, suggesting that the global demand is under pressure, and plus imports have surged, particularly gold imports. So, so far at least, we have not hit that 85 handle on the rupee, but, this trade deficit number is a bit of a negative, so we'll watch for the currency in particular.
Well, that's right, Rima. And in terms of yesterday's trading action, as you said, the trading is getting a little bit lighter, right? So let's focus on a couple of cues that we're getting. Overnight, overnight, in fact, we did have a couple of cues that did come in with regard to, I think I'll just sit here and do the link today. We had the dollar index as well as we had, crude oil prices. Both of them were a little bit stronger overnight. And if you're looking at the 10-year as well, that as well perked up a little bit. So it's giving you to wonder whether or not the Fed is going to come out with a negative surprise, which incidentally would mean that they skip that 25 basis rate cut. Let's focus on a couple of cues. And what do we get from the FIs overnight? Well, they unbound some long positions. Close to 11,000 contracts is what they unbound. And if you're looking at the short positioning, you pull up a chart, you'll see that the short positions have doubled in the last 1 week or so. So it was at around 37,000 contracts. That's moved to around 75,000 contracts. The client long positioning as well, that's moved up by close to around 50%. So both of them are going in their respective directions. Long positioning was around 1 lakh contracts. That's gone to around 1.5 lakh contracts or thereabouts. Moving to the options data then. You have two strikes that were active. 24,700 call, 24,650 put. Both of them were fairly active in yesterday's trading session, which gives us the broad levels. I think the market's in a bit of a range. We're closer to the upper end of the range, which is incidentally at around 24,850. And on the downside, we're looking at the recent low, which comes in at around 24,200 odd. The stocks that I'm looking at, a couple of them have come out of the FNO band. So we are looking at Metropolis as well as PVR Inox. Both of them have come out of the FNO band. So let's see whether or not we've got a bit of a move on both those two. And the other one I'm looking at is Coromandel International. Yesterday, the stock made a fresh 52-week high. There was delivery-based buying that we saw out there. Volumes were very, very high as well. And also, there was some management commentary. I spoke to a couple of brokerages like, Axis Capital. I'm reading their note out there. They're talking about margins moving up because of backward integration and operating leverage playing out. So I think in the near term, we're stuck in a bit of a range with regard to the Nifty. But maybe the broader market sentiment continues. And I just hope that the Fed doesn't have a negative surprise in store. So that's how it goes.
Absolutely, Nigel. And,